The sidewalks were bustling with people hurrying home, some with tired eyes from long shifts, others clutching shopping bags and coffees. In the midst of this ordinary evening, a boy no older than 15 sat on the cracked steps of a closed record shop, cradling a beat-up acoustic guitar. His name was Ethan Price. Life hadn't been easy for Ethan. His mother had passed away when he was only 11, and his father, lost in his own grief, had walked out soon after. Foster homes came and went, but Ethan always slipped through the cracks. By the time he was 13, he had stopped waiting for someone to claim him. He found refuge in the streets, in alleyways, and most of all, in music. The guitar slung across his shoulder was his mother's. The paint had chipped, the frets were worn, but it was the only piece of her he had left. On nights when the hunger pangs grew sharp, he would close his eyes and imagine her voice singing lullabies to him, and the ache would dull just enough for him to sleep. Tonight, as the city lights flickered on, Ethan positioned the guitar on his lap. His fingers trembled, not from the cold, but from the song he was about to play. "Mama, I'm Comin' Home." It was one of his mother's favorite songs. She used to hum it while cleaning the house, her voice rich and soft, filling the air with a strange kind of hope. Ethan had taught himself the chords by ear, replaying grainy YouTube videos on public library computers until his fingers could trace the notes without thought. A small crowd began to form. Strangers slowed their steps, curious about the skinny kid with shaggy hair and eyes too old for his face. Some dropped coins in the open guitar case, others just lingered, phones ready to record. Ethan cleared his throat, then strummed the first haunting chords. His voice cracked slightly, but as he leaned into the song, something shifted. The rawness in his voice wasn't weakness, it was power. Each lyric carried the weight of his longing, his grief, his desperate need for belonging. "Mama, I'm coming home." The melody wrapped around the street like a spell. Conversations hushed. Even the honking cars seemed distant, as if the city itself paused to listen. A woman near the front wiped her eyes. A businessman set down his briefcase, forgetting the meeting he was late for. But among the crowd was one man no one expected to see. A black SUV had pulled up quietly at the corner minutes earlier. Out stepped a frail but unmistakable figure, Ozzy Osbourne himself. He had been heading to a private dinner nearby when he overheard the faint notes of a familiar song. At first, he thought his mind was playing tricks on him, but as he drew closer, the words hit him like a wave. This kid wasn't just singing his song, he was bleeding through it. Ozzy's wife Sharon tried to guide him inside the restaurant, but Ozzy shook his head, his eyes locked on Ethan. Slowly, he edged through the crowd until he stood at the front, only a few feet from the boy. Ethan, lost in the lyrics, didn't notice at first. He kept strumming, pouring everything he had into the final verse. His voice cracked again, but instead of faltering, it soared. That's when he looked up and froze. The face staring back at him was one he had seen countless times on old posters, album covers, and grainy videos. For a heartbeat, he thought he was hallucinating. The crowd began to buzz, whispers spreading like fire. "It's him, Ozzy Osbourne." No way, that can't be real. But it was real. The Prince of Darkness himself, standing quietly, his eyes glistening with something far softer than his reputation. Ethan's hands shook. The cord slipped. "I'm sorry," he stammered, voice breaking. But Ozzy stepped forward. He laid a hand on the boy's shoulder, steadying him. His voice, raspy but warm, carried through the silence. "Don't stop, lad. Finish it. For your mama." The encouragement shot straight through Ethan's chest. He swallowed hard, nodded, and began again, this time with Ozzy standing beside him. The crowd held their breath as Ethan sang the last verse, his voice stronger now, almost defiant. When the final chord rang out, the street erupted in applause. Ethan sat stunned, unsure if he should laugh or cry. Before he could speak, Ozzy gently took the guitar from his hands. He plucked a few strings, adjusted the tuning, then looked out at the crowd. "Mind if I join in?" he asked, a mischievous glint at his eyes. The crowd roared. Phones shot into the air. Ethan's mouth fell open, speechless. And then it happened. An impromptu duet between a street kid and a rock legend. Ozzy's weathered voice blended with Ethan's raw, youthful tone, weaving the song into something otherworldly. The crowd swayed, tears streaming down faces, strangers holding hands as the lyrics echoed down the boulevard. When the last note faded, silence lingered for a long moment before an explosion of cheers shook the night. Ethan's heart pounded. He looked at Ozzy, who smiled faintly and said, "You've got soul, boy. Don't ever lose that." The crowd pressed in, people shouting, crying, recording. But Ozzy leaned close, lowering his voice so only Ethan could hear. "What's your name?" "Ethan," the boy whispered. Ozzy nodded. "Ethan, I was supposed to be at a dinner right now, but I reckon I was meant to find you instead." The next hour blurred. Reporters arrived. Videos of the performance were already flooding social media, going viral faster than wildfire. Ethan's name trended worldwide before he even realized what was happening. But the real moment came later. After the crowd had thinned and the cameras left, Ozzy sat with Ethan on the steps of that closed record shop. His guitar rested between them. Oz said quietly, "You remind me of myself, you know. Lost, broken, but still clinging to the music. It saved me. It can save you too." Ethan swallowed hard. "I don't have anyone, just this guitar." Ozzy's expression softened. "Then you've got more than most, and you've got me now." The boy blinked, unsure if he heard right. Ozzy clapped at his stunned face. "I can't promise miracles, lad, but I'll make sure you're not out here alone anymore. You've got talent the world deserves to hear." And true to his word, Ozzy kept it. Within weeks, Ethan was whisked into studios, his viral video opening doors he never dreamed possible. Record producers called, talent scouts begged for meetings. But through it all, Ethan clung to the memory of that night, the moment his song reached the man who first sung it, and the world stopped to listen. Months later, on a stage packed with thousands of fans, Ethan stood with a new guitar slung across his back. Ozzy Osbourne was there beside him once again, a proud smile etched across his face. Ethan stepped to the microphone, his voice steady now. "This one's for my mom." The crowd erupted, and as the first chords of "Mama, I'm Coming Home" echoed through the stadium, Ethan realized he had, in a way, finally come home himself.